Hello everyone, welcome to the third part of this shopper's e-commerce website. So previously we have been done this entire things. We can roll back to the single, we can back to the shopper's homepage, and also we can go in the shop and can view all over our products. So today we're gonna set up our store, and beside that, as you see that tab over here, we need to create that tab too. So how we can eradicate that? To implement this one, so let's roll back to our project, and on that project, in the source, on the components, I'm gonna take a new file which going to be sidebar.tsx rafce. We will create our sidebar component, and that sidebar we are going to keep it not here but in the layout. As you see in our user layout over here, after or below the footer, we can keep it anywhere because we will make it as an absolute or as a fixed position, so it will not wrap up with any other possibilities. If we just come back here, you see the sidebar, it's just right here. So from there we need to take it in a very style situation. So make a class name which going to be, I'm gonna make it a fixed, and from the top it will be a 60, and from the right it would be 2, and Z should be 20, and it gonna be, I'm gonna just keep it a flex and flex column. So and gap should be 2. So now we keep it as fixed parameter, right? As you see, it's right here, that's fixed. Now even I just make that in that probabilities, it will not move because it's fixed here. It's not ring, it should be right. Okay, you see on that right here, as you see, that's the where the position it would be. So now first thing first, we will have two parameters. One, as you see in previous example, one for the user which will be for the server side, another it will be card which will be available for our normal client side application. So both parameter we will keep that separate. So one, it will be for that user account, another it will be card. And to just make that things to be happen, we should provide one link over here. So it would be, I'm going to just wrap that with a link properties, and within that link I'm going to provide that, let's say it would be like, I'm going to just make that one MD switch account icon. Okay, and also that href. For right now, I'm gonna just put that in a sign in parameter just to see if it's working. Okay, we should be able to see that. You see that icon is available here. So now what we're gonna do is to create it in a very perfect way. First of all, let's grab the class name. Text should be to Excel, and for these proper instances, we can actually make a quite cool entries on that. And minus translate x should be, I'm gonna set 2 on that. Sorry, it should be 12, and then I'm gonna make it so this entire, first I'm gonna keep this one in a good position, only then, or I think instead of rolling over in that particular link, I'm gonna generate within a deep property here so that we can make it action in a proper way. For the link, let's just make some class name over here. BJ should be X and white, and I'm gonna provide a width of 16. I'm gonna provide a height of 70 pixel, the default height, and then rounded should be MD, should be flex should be column, and let's provide a gap of 1. And after that, the text should be accent, and justify center, item should be center, and yeah, of course it's a flex, right? Yeah, we need to make it flex in column, which okay, we already made that in the top. I forgot that. Okay, and now what we can do is that we're gonna make a shadow of SM, and that shadow should be light green, which the color we have, and overflow X should be hidden. First I'm gonna keep it like that. Okay, let's see the overflow, then I'm gonna keep it as group. So right now, as you see, it's here, but we need to align it in a proper way. So how we can do that, because that's the scenario. You see this over here, because that one we are mingling, so it should be within this property, should be in the middle. Once we hover, it gonna change. So right now we're gonna also provide a p tag over there. Like after that div, we should have a p tag. Gonna say, for right now I'm gonna make it as, or you can say just profile, and for the text put a class name, which going to be text should be extra small, and font should be semi bold. Okay, so now what's gonna be happening first, it go, because right now I'm logged in, so I'm gonna just log out from here. See, this icon going to be shuffling, one it will be here, one it will be there, then once I click, it gonna just shuffling like that. So we should have a two icon, right? Should have a two icon here. So that's the two icon which should be, see, we have two icon right now. So first thing first, I'm gonna make it in a class name should be flex, and item center, justify center, to keep everything in the middle. So right now I'm gonna push one from there and keep others in exact parameter. So what I'm gonna do is that for the first one, I'm gonna make translate x would be 12, not 1/2, should be 12. And whenever I'm gonna make it the group and hover on it, it should be in translate x should be 3 to keep in a position, and transition should be translate or transform, you can say, duration should be 200. So the same class name, I'm gonna just copy that here. I'm gonna grab it in this proportion. So first this one, it should be 4, should be -4. Right now we have 12, so -12 should be -4, and once I hit that, it should be 12, but this time, okay, it should be normal 12, I think so. Let's see what's going to be happening. You see, that's the one. So that's the scenario which we are going to create, and also for that it should be 4, I think, better. And from here what I'm gonna do, it should be overflow should be hidden, and I think that much would be good. And also because as a link it should be a cursor pointer. Okay, see, cool. That's the small things which we can make right now. And also if I say it should be 3, is it 3? Yeah, 3, I think, perfect. It's look in the middle, 3, yeah. Okay, so we made one for profile. So this one, it will be normally in server side. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna create another one which would be for client side. So we can take another free component, should be sidebar cart.tsx rfce, and here we're gonna generate our sidebar card icon. So it will be sidebar cart. If you just hover here, it should be available for that color combination. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab that similar properties from there. Should be copy, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, so for the link parameter, take the link, and for that icon we're gonna take a different icon which should be shopping fill icon. And here instead of profile, it's gonna provide the, let's say, buy now. And also for the value, it will be, right now it's gonna be point out a 0 value. If you see here, it should be rendered right now. You see the buy now, and this buy now, it's gonna be at the top. So right now it's there, we're gonna keep it in a positioning right now. So for that p tag, let's put a class name. I'm gonna make it as an absolute positioning. As we are making it absolute, this one, it should be as a relative proportion. And for that, because we need to make it use client, because we're gonna fetch the card from our particular state, right? From our store. From top it should be 1, and from right should be 2, and then also bj should be dark orange, and text it will be white, and then text also going to be extra small, and width I'm going to provide a 4, and height going to provide 4, and we're going to provide a full rounded over there, and flex item center, justify center, font should be semi bold. And if we did that, as you see, this icon gonna be shuffling there over here right now, but it's not the way we are looking for. This ring, why, how is getting the right? I have no idea. Okay, so now it should be taking a proper space. If I put is like 10, it's just going to take the hit, and we can see the 10 products is available. We're gonna keep it like that. Later on, we're gonna fix that things for us. So right now, if we click on buy now, it will just render, because right now we don't have any parameters, sign in parameters or others. And this buy now, it will not take the sign in parameters. It should be taking us to our cart. So before fixing all other properties, we're going to set our store, and to set up the store, we are going to use that our Redux toolkit. That's very simple to use. So let's go in the quick start, and from the quick start, we're gonna just go and roll what we need to be installed over here. So we need that Redux.js toolkit and also that React Redux. So it's a two packages which are going to make it work. And also you're going to use that Redux persist to just save everything in our local storage so that it will be just be available there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that parameter, and from here in my another terminal, I'm going to just paste that command to let it be installed within our project. Then how we can use that? To use that one, as you see, we need to create a source and add the store.js file and then the other parameter. So what I'm gonna do again, while it's installing, I'm gonna just go back here in the source. I'm gonna create a file or folder which can say as Redux, so that we will know the work is here all for Redux. And on that Redux, I'm gonna take a file name store.ts, not tsx but ts. And from that instance, I'm gonna just copy that entire things, right? Let's see how it's gonna work. So these two parameter not require. We're just going to use that store, and how we can link up within our application. To hook up that one, we need to provide that use that provider, and then need to embed it everything within the provider. Now our application is server side, but this fellow here, that provider, that store, is not supporting that server side. So we need to make everything as a client-side component, otherwise it will just make a fallback issue, so it will not work properly. So how can we embed it and enter in this layout as a client-side component? How we can do that? To make that happen, in that component we will take another file which is layout.tsx. Now this is layout and this is also layout, but this file is here as a root layout, not the normal layout. So here let's create RAFCE, and just to bring our layout component, and what I'm gonna grab it here, I'm gonna just pass everything properly so that it can like utilize that one to use it. So first thing first, we're gonna have one parameter which is that children, and that children has a type. So children, which is react.react note. So that's the type for it. So instead of that layout, I'm gonna render all the children, all available children here, and instead of that div, I'm gonna just wrap everything with the provider which need to be coming from that React Redux. And React Redux, that provider, by default taking a parameter which going to be a store, should be store, and that store going to be the store which we created earlier. Store. Done. So right now we should have our provider, and how we can say that it's having, you see the changes, the shoppers e-commerce website. Let's go back here, and I'm gonna just open my inspector. Okay, remove that view, and from here in that Redux, you see in action. So that's the parameter. We have a shopping app here and the other property here. I'm gonna make a reload. Okay, even if you make reload, it will not interject here. Why? Because we created that layout but we didn't ship it here. So this entire paradigm need to be cut, and then I'm gonna wrap everything within our layout, which is the dummy layout which we have been created. If I hit save, it's gonna be giving a nice error to me because it's supposed not to be working in that way. You see, this function is not supported in the React server side. Please only use it export in a client component, and very easy to use the client component. Here what I'm gonna do, just render a use client flag. That's it. Now after finishing up, you see it's just reloading, and okay, what's the error is there? Object whose values are reducers. Okay, because we don't have any valid reducer, it's gonna giving an error. No worries, we're gonna keep that reducers to make it go. I see shoppers e-commerce website, we have actions which is in it, and now we are good to go. But before going, we need to create our reducers, and how we can create that. So in that Redux, we're gonna create a separate, like for reducers for our shoppers application, should be shoppers, let's say shoppers slice.ts. Again, how it gonna work? If we just roll back here, you see that you can just copy that one and then you can just paste it here. Now we can just roll back how and what it going to be happen. So first, this increment value, or you can just remove everything. We can just start from the beginning to show you how it going to work. So first we need to create like an initial value. So it should be any initial state, and that state going to combine two parameter. One is for that favorite, which going to be the product data, which we have product data as an array of product data it going to be hosting. So okay, I think for initial state, what's wrong with that? Okay, right now, okay, that's our mistake. That should be an empty, and also that one will be for favorite, another will be for cart, which also going to be an empty array. And also we can combine that user info, which going to be right now it going to be null. So maybe we not required to save the user in our local storage, because we're gonna use that directly using our token, but it's better to keep it whenever we needing that one. Now we have initial state. What I'm gonna do, export const, it going to be shopper slice, and from there I'm gonna take a function from there which going to be create slice. So should be create and then create slice from Redux toolkit, and that's a function taking a parameter of object where the name going to be there should be shoppers, and after that we're gonna pass that initial state value, then we're gonna combine the reducers. So first reducer is going to be add to cart, which gonna making a very good instance. So it should be state, and then it going to take the action. So state going to be the state which we define here, and the action going to be dispatching from our frontend when we're gonna dispatch anything from there. So that's the two parameter which we are going to set. So what I'm gonna do, for right now I'm gonna just keep a simple object, should be state dot cart is equal to action dot payload. So whatever we're gonna send through the payload, it should be taking that instance, just replace everything over there. So from here we're gonna make that export const should be add to cart, and that one is equal to shopper slice dot actions. So that would be contain all the actions, and I'm gonna make export default should be shopper slice dot reducer. So right now we're having the reducer, so we need to connect that reducer within our store. And how we can do that? First thing first is to import that one from our shopper slice. So should be import shopper slice from shopper slice. Okay, so you can just combine that one directly here, and in that reducer parameter we can directly use that, but not directly. We're gonna provide a name which is the shoppers, and here should be that shopper slice. So in that way we can just symbolize that one. Actually I think it should not be eradicate on that instance, it would be directly there, or we can put a different name like that, shoppers reducer. We can also go through that name, so it will not contradict with that. Okay, so now as we have that, if we just come over there, hit a smart reload, and then we should be able to see. So if we go in the state, we're having three parameter which is coming from there. Shopper, we have three state, which is one is the cart, one is the favorite, one is the user info. So now we can combine that, we can dispatch that action and see if we can have any data over there. So we have add to cart button, which by default we need to provide it as a use client. Remember, we separated that one because we will gonna hit that action over there, right? That's why we keep separated before. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just take that dispatch method. It should be const dispatch and use dispatch. So with that dispatch formula, we can actually send the data directly to our store. So what I'm gonna do, it should be just say on click, and I'm gonna make that handle add to cart. So in that parameter, if we just make that const handle add to cart, is going to be just a simple function over there. I'm gonna hit the dispatch, which is going to be just pass the item over there. So first we need to provide that what kind of actions we are going to dispatch. So it should be add to cart, and from there I'm gonna pass everything whatever is available on there. And after that also I'm gonna pass a toast method. So toast dot, why toast is not coming? Did we configure the toast? I don't think so. If we just go in our layout, no, we didn't configure our toaster. So we're gonna use that react hot toast to just to combine our toast messages, to just make it to just combine it perfectly so that we can have an idea what's going on. Is it just passed by or not? So to go in the documentation and then copy this command, and we need to install that one in locally. Let's hit enter. So now we need to configure that one here, and to see that we need to make the toaster in a dynamic way. So you're gonna keep it one place, then we can just fetch that one in overall our application. And how we can do that, to make that one dynamic way, you see that footer. After that we can just make on that, I'm gonna grab that toaster here in a global layer, and on that toaster I'm going to define the title. It should be here. So the position I'm going to giving as a bottom right position it will contain, and after that we're going to pass the style for the toast options, and the style should be generating as the style for the background color, which going to be, or we can just make that background YGROUND. Yeah, background should be the color of, we can say it should be #0000000 fully black, and for the color of the text should be the color of FFF fully white. So now we will be able to grab that directly from there. So it should be toast, and that toast going to be coming from the react hot toast, and from there right now we can define the parameter, like we can say what we are going to adding there, like whatever the product we are adding, we need to rectify the name and then pass that one. So how we can say that, it should be toast.success as we are at adding the product. So in the backtick I'm going to pass that product name, which is going to be item.title, and we are not going to send the entire title, which it could be bigger. So I'm going to make in a substring over there, should be only 12 character, it will go past there, okay, not longer than that, and then add it successfully. So it should be the 12 character long, and it will be adding perfectly whenever we're gonna click on that add to cart button. So now let's make a trial over here in that, because all the button is that one. Click on that, you see pro added successfully. If we just go here, shows added successfully, I think. Why? Okay, it should be defining which character should be there. So from the 0 to first 12 character should be available there. So right now if we just add another one, see Alex Chan 12 is okay, PlayStation added. So now as you see in the card, it's just replacing our first parameter, which we should not be there, and on the counter of that logic we need to implement that scenario so that it will not leave that apart. And how we can do that, in the shopper slice we need to define what kind of ratio we are going to make that one. So this state having the access on our previous card value. So first, whenever we're gonna make added to the card, we need to check if that product is already already available, like if it's exist in the cart, if it's exist, we are not going to add that one. What we're gonna do, we're gonna increase the quantity. That's it. If it's there, we're gonna increase the quantity. Otherwise, we're gonna just enforce that one as a new one. So how we can write that configuration? To write that one, so make const or we can say existing item, or you can say existing product is equal to. Now we should be having a value over there. First we're gonna say state dot cart, and then we're gonna find with that method. And how we can find that, remember, we're gonna pass an item over there. Should be, we're gonna take the value of as an item, because with that properties we can individually get all the products, right? So the item dot id should be is equal to, that one should be action dot payload dot id. Now that id, if we just roll back to our type, let's see what kind of id we have. You see the underscore id is having there, so should that value should be that our underscore id. Now we are not getting the help from the TypeScript, because the TypeScript doesn't know what kind of the product we are having right now, and that's why we're going to define the type for that parameter, which should be interface. And first we're gonna define the type of user info, which going to have an id, which will be string. Then the name also, it should be string, and that email also going to be as a string. So now that's the user info parameter. Then we are going to have another one, which should be initial state parameter. And initial parameter, we have a card, which going to be a product data, but an array of product data. Then we're gonna have our favorite product, favorite, also going to be having a product data, which going to be an array of that. Or you can say it favorite data, or you can say it as wish list. That's the simple name. I think wish list is good than favorite. So that's the wish list. And then we are going to have our user info, which going to be that user info, which we define at the top. Otherwise, if it's not there, then also either way it can be null. So should be, need to provide is a capital one, user info. Now in that properties, we're going to define also the type that this user state is going to, sorry, the initial state going to having the type of our initial state. Now if I just revise on that, put dot, you see we have all the properties available right now. As the similar id, it going to coming from the properties, so it should be that action payload dot id. So now this one going to having access to our existing product. Again, I'm defining how we grab that, because in that method what we are going to do, in that action we are just dispatching all the products which also having an id. So what I'm doing, I'm gonna matching the id if that id existed any of that cart item. If it's available, then I am just recalling it as an existing product. So now we need to combine two parameters. If I have one existing product, then what I want to do, else what I want to do. If I doesn't have the existing product, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just state dot cart, and I'm gonna just push that one as it going to be an array. So what I'm gonna push, I'm gonna push all action. I'm gonna just pass that as an, okay, I'm gonna just make it action dot payload. So whatever I'm gonna passing over there, it just gonna edit there, just push that item if it's not existed before. Like if I have 10 items, if I put a new item, it should be the 11th one. But if I have the existing item, what I'm gonna do, existing item dot, we have a quantity parameter which going to be plus equal to 1. I'm gonna just add 1 with that properties. So let's just roll back here, and we should be able to see that norm, that is going to be working or not. And in our Redux over here right now, you see, okay, that's not the one. We should be getting that shoppers e-commerce. We have nothing over there in the cart. Why? It's, if we just add, you see the cart, we have 1. If we add, we have 2. As you see, if I add one more, and in the first one we should be able to see the quantity of 2. You see, that's the way it should work. So now we have this parameter, and we're gonna also define 2 different methods. One should be add to cart, and also there should be another 2 method which would be increase quantity, and also this one going to take that state and action. Okay, increase quantity. And the same way, I'm gonna just grab this parameter as an existing item, or you can, it will not be available in the global layer. So if that existing product is available, then what I want to do, I want to make that existing product dot quantity plus equal to it should be plus equal to 1. So this time what I'm gonna do, item.id is available there, but instead of that action.payload.id, I'm gonna just passing the id from the product. So this time I don't need to dispatch all the product to just to make that crashing or other parameter. And that decreasing quantity, I'm gonna write another function here, so it should be decreasing quantity, and this decreasing quantity, it should be not plus equal to, it will be minus equal to, so it's gonna decrease that parameter. Now we have 2 things, and after that we're gonna have one more which going to be remove from cart. So in that properties, again I'm gonna take the state, and also I'm gonna take that action. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove a single product from the cart. How I can do that? State.cart is equal to, I'm gonna just define with that state.cart.filter. I'm gonna filter that item. So the ID which I'm gonna send, that's supposed to be deleted. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna filter entire thing. How you are filtering water, once you are putting on the jar, it's removing the black stone and other garbage from the water to make you feel drinkable like. So that's the same thing I'm gonna do. Whatever the ID is coming here, I'm gonna just shut that up and remove from that cart, and others I'm gonna filter it and keep it in the cart. So now on that filter, I'm gonna take define with an item, so that item dot id, which it should be not equal to that action dot payload. So whatever is happening, or I'm sending the ID in the action.payload, it will not keep that there, it's just gonna remove it. And one, it will be that receipt card. That receipt card, it will just take a simple state property, because remember we have a default state. This time I'm gonna make that state dot card, which going to be its default method, which would be empty one. So by that one, I'm gonna also make 2 more parameters. As you see, we have that add to card. I'm gonna copy that, and over here at the below, instead of add to cart, make that add to wish list. And from here, instead of that state.cart, state.wish list I'm gonna define, and here it should not be having any of our add to favorite, it's just to having that push method. So if it's having the push method, because we're just gonna match that one time, if we have, we're gonna just click remove, just like we're gonna add one time, and the next call it's gonna remove that. So that's the same parameter we're gonna working on that. So that we have that, and also it should be have receipt wish list. So with that parameter should be state only, and now we can say state dot wish list should be an empty array, and we're gonna have a 2 separate parameter, which will be add user and another going to be remove user. By one add user, we're gonna add user directly, another we're just gonna make it as an empty. So we have add to cart, we have increase quantity, we have decrease quantity, we have a remove from cart, we have a receipt cart, then we have add to wish list, then we have also a remove like receipt wish list, receipt wish list, then we have add user, then we have I think that remove user, remove user. Why is not showing up? We have add user, we have our That's already declared, that one. Okay, done. So we have increase, decrease, remove from cart. We should have that one at the bottom. Then we're gonna have receipt cart. Done. So now we are having that action method. So right now what we can do is that, as we are going to have the data directly, we can go in that I think cart sidebar button, which sidebar cart which we created earlier. So in that particular sidebar we can see if we can recall our data or not. So should be const store data is equal to, we should use that use selector. We are using use dispatch to send the data to our store. We are using use selector to grab the data from our store. So dispatch having a different method, and also selector has a different method. So I'm going to take a parameter of state here. I'm going to take just state to see the log, what kind of data we are receiving from there. Store data. Done. If I just come over here, put inspect over there in the console, if I just hit okay, because this one, it should be not over there. We need to make that use client flag, as we are using the selector, so it should be on that particular flag. So right now if we just refresh on that, is having that shoppers, we have all the dispatch method, cart, user info, wish list, which is right now is empty. Also getting okay, the priority, I think if we just go in the banner, not this banner but our component banner, what I'm gonna do is that image I'm gonna making as priority. I'm gonna just make that three of that as priority. Where is that? Should be loaded there. And for that product card, there is another image which showcasing the product image. I'm gonna make it as loading lazy. That's it. So right now if we just make add to cart, you can see we have the shoppers, then we have that cart array. So we can just easily go and bump over there sidebar cart. We can say in the shoppers we're gonna have the cart, we're gonna have the shoppers state, and from that shoppers state we can actually grab that properties there. So also we need to define one type parameter, which going to be type. But before starting on the type, if I save that, you're gonna see that shoppers, okay, server error, okay, we put in a wrong place. Shoppers dot set dot shoppers. Hit reload, it will appear very soon. So right now if we just click on that, okay, we have the property, we have the cart one, but if we just select on that particular cart, we should be able to see the cart. You see, 2 item, 3 item, 4 items. So we can now directly having the cart. And for that instance we also need to provide a type for it. So what, as we type over here which is that store state. We have cart, we have also wish list, which also having that product data, which an array of product data. Then we have user info, which is by default as null. Right now I'm going to keep it null. Later on we can fix that, or if you want to make the things to happen also, then better you can just go in the shopper slice and define the error which is going to happen interface user. So right now from there you can directly grab it and inject it here. Then we can define either it can be or it can be null. That's it. So instead of dumping this one state, we are going to make that store state. Yes. And how the help it gonna provide us? As you see, if right now if I just go and stop on there store dot, as you see shoppers, then I gonna have other property. So as is an objective data, we can directly just embed the cart over here. So if we just save and enter, we should be able to see the cart product. So now we can directly change our initial value over here. So what we will say, if we have cart, like if we have the cart data, then we will provide that cart dot length. Otherwise 0. Also, you can define it if we have that car.length or something, doesn't matter, it will just fix on that issue. So right now, if I just hit reload, it will disappear because we are not saving it in real time. But trust me, we are not going to do it. We are going to do it right now, because what we just now created here in the store, it's not saving in the real time. And that's actually is kind of suck, because we need to save that one in real time, otherwise it has no value. So to do that in real time, we need to go with several criteria, and the first criteria is to use that Redux persist. So let's go in the npm, and from here we're gonna use that Redux persist, and that's the one. Let's just get that one within our application layer. Okay, it's a 1 million download over there, so pretty hacky thing. So first install, and then how we can use that one, it's very simple to use. We just need to grab that storage and others, you see, from the persist store and other. I'm gonna copy this parameter and I'm gonna grab that within my store. So one is for the persist store, one is that persisted reducer, that two. Then we are going to bring that. So I have that root reducer, which I'm gonna use my reducer here. Okay, so first I'm gonna define that persist config. We have the config and we are grabbing the store. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab that properties, and instead of that root reducer, I'm gonna just pass my reducer here, which can combine to have that equally together to work on. So right now I set up my entire things for the persistor and others. So we should have two different parameter, one to set the persistor, another to pass my legitimate persist over here. As you see in the shoppers, right now I'm not gonna sending this one. What I'm gonna send that persisted reducer, which is here. That's the one. Okay, because what I'm doing, I'm combining the reducer here so that I can directly define that one. And also what we need to define is that we're gonna export const persistor, which we're gonna use to combine that persistor. So it should be persistor, and on that persistor we're gonna define that our store, the store which we are having here, but not persist store going to be there. So persist store, yeah. So now we are having two value. One is the store, which is already we are connected, another is that persist store. So whenever we are having that, we need to connect with that persist get. So that's the initial setup. We need to combine directly over there. And where we're gonna do that is pretty simple. You may already configure where we are just going to inject that one. This one going to be injected over here in our layout. Where is our layout? And that provider, after within that provider, I'm going to wrap that children, should be persist get, and within that persist get I'm going to drop the children, and that one also taking a loading parameter, where I'm going to set our loader component. So it will just show us that loading instances, and that persistor parameter, I'm gonna just define that persistor which we just imported over there. If you just come here, as you see, is loading at the corner. So after loading, okay, there is something, okay, import module register. I'm gonna just hit reload. Maybe some serializable or non-serializable data is there from where we imported Redux persist integration React. So it's supposed to have no issue over there. So persist gate and the provider. So let's just see from where we're getting the error. I'm just gonna inspect that one. Console. Failed to load resource. The server response with the status of 404. Okay, it's a server response. I'm gonna just remove the cache and others. Let's see if it's still responding. A non-serializable value is detected from where the path register key. Okay, it's having an issue with the persist. Okay, we can fix that. So let's just see what kind of things we are having in our store. So that's the parameter combining all. So we're shipping that parameter, which we're getting the persist config, shoppers reducer. Okay, what's wrong over here? In the reducer, we are going to just combining that. that can combine, I think, because of the update, because right now that Redux is not providing the other parameter which is handling the data module perfectly. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab those properties which is required right now to just combine and make that things to go. And what all are these? So beside that Persistor, Persist store and others, I'm gonna have some of the more properties which going to flush, rehydrate, pause, persist, purge, register, and web storage. So we need to define the storage so that it will not freak out. So what I'm gonna do, setting the middleware here, should be get default def middleware. Is it not coming? So I can define that. So we can just take that parameter, should be get default middleware, and here I'm gonna pass let's say within that should be get default middleware, and on that I'm gonna passing an object which should be getting that serializable check, and on that check I'm gonna make that ignore action paths, or I think ignored actions going to be okay. Here I'm gonna pass that flux, so the flux which I have at the top, flush, then also rehydrate, and after that also it gonna take the pause, and then also persist, and then purge, and after that purge, after that register. So let's see what we are having there. Ignore actions, why it's not having there? What is saying persist plus and okay a boolean value, so it supposed to have that. What's wrong in that properties? Okay, that's not ignore action, should be ignored actions. Okay, so right now once I did that, you see the error has just wiped away, so we are good to go. We can add more product, and even we hit the reload, it's supposed to be there, not to be just go away. And now after having this proportion, if we go here, you see Redux persist failed to create sync storage. It will just appear whenever you are having that, it will appear. Reload, and it's appearing. Okay, it's not appearing anymore. I'm gonna just remove stop that one and npm run it, because that error should be appearing. If it's not appear, means Next.js fix something to just go out from that error. Let's see, I'm gonna hit a reload and it's compiling. Okay, give it a time to just reconcile. Compiling. Okay, and compiled. As it compiled, as you see, we have that error. So what we need to do, we need to create a node storage to let that our server side render to understand what we are going to making. And to make that one, we will create a function over here which is going to help us to create that instances, and then we're gonna combine that. And how we can do that? So after this property, we are going to use that export function, or you can make a variable, should be create, or actually we can pass that create persistent store. Yeah, create persist storage, and with that parameter it will also just, I'm gonna take that combination here. Okay, done. persist persist storage. What's wrong? Oh, R. Okay, so here I'm gonna define that parameter over there, that persist storage also going to define some of the value of that, should be that web storage. So that's the components layer it's going to define. Is it having a problem? Assignable. Okay, we can directly, if it's not getting like that, we can define it in a different method. So that should be that web storage. So we are going to define that in a functional layer. So that should be web storage parameter, then define that. So also it will work on that. So now const is server. We need to create a dummy server here. Should be, I think we will just roll back to our previous one. It should not providing the error. We'll see if it's guessing the error, then we can fix that one also. So now make is server action, which going to be type of that will be for our window is equal to undefined. So that's the first is server parameter. Now we will create dummy server here. And how we can create, if is server is available, means we have a session of server, then what it gonna happen, it gonna return, and from there it gonna return that get item parameter, return get item, y is taking the key get item, and from this parameter we are going to passing the return. We're gonna pass a promise dot resolve. We're gonna first resolve that one, which will be a nullable value. So that's the one thing. And then after that also we're gonna set item. Now on that instances, again we're gonna return an instances which going to be a promise, and that one also we're gonna resolve on that with an empty variable. So not that resolve is importing from somewhere maybe, so it should be promise dot resolve. Okay, and after that we're gonna also make that remove item, which going to be removing the item parameter from there, which also going to be returned as a promise dot, which will be resolve. So first one it should be nullable, then later on it's just gonna be contradict with that instances, and from here we need to return that value, return, which will be create web storage. So web storage, we're gonna pass that our local storage. So that's the value we are going to grab from there, should be web storage. Here I think okay, it's not assignable to type web storage. Why? Did we define that? I think we can just go in that to instances. Let's see if it's working. What is saying, create persist storage implicitly has any value. So the web storage, why is not taking the hit? If I just okay, we was good until when? Let's see. Our function was working perfectly, but it was never worked perfectly. So promise type get item set item promise resolve void undefined is not assignable to the web storage. And from where we are taking that? We're taking that web storage from Redux. Is it going to like that? What's wrong here? If we just check our previous versions, it's working. So means we messed up something. We are passing that web storage directly here. So that will be that parameter. And from there we can, if we want to remove that simple arrow function, then also we are having a problem. Web storage, and right now, so implicitly has any value. Oh, okay, export const. It should not be const. Export should be a function. That's the where it going to take the hit. So now we can say the web storage. So then that one export function create web storage, and what is there? Statement return does not include is undefined because we just removed the properties from there. Okay, okay, sorry. It should be a while on this position. What's wrong? Okay, so the return value is there, and after the return value, after this parameter should be passing that, and also need to import this one. So now we have one dummy server. So this server going to be running there. So first of all, we need to connect that server to our particular storage parameter, right? So to do that, remember we already connected that one with the storage we have here. Did we connect it? Yeah, that's the storage. But this time we are not going to use that storage from Redux Persist. We're going to create our own storage. How we can create that? Remember this one. So it will be const rage storage is equal to, should be type of, and we're gonna take in a window. If it's not equal to there, like if it's not equal to undefined, then we're gonna define something, otherwise we're gonna define something. If it's like undefined, if it's not, if it's undefined, then we are going to be just creating that persist storage. Okay, so that's the one we're gonna do. If it's not there, we're gonna just create that function, so that one it gonna pass us a dummy server. If it is already there, means it's undefined, then we're gonna also create a dummy, create web storage, which I'm going to taking as a local value. So right now we are passing that storage directly here. So right now if it's loading here, even I just Control C to remove that, npm run dev, and let's see if we have that error, which is going to be just a fallbacking for the nope storage properties, which is previously heading. You see the ready is starting, so if we just reload, it's gonna be compiling, and after compiling this time we should not have that error. So just have a look. You see it's compiled and perfectly working without any particular error. So now we can add more product, we can go through it, and we can make it work. It looks perfect. So that's good to go. So you can set up your storage, you can make it more component wise. So right now what we can do is that to set in more unique way. All right, so you have that entire things, you can just create in a very specific way, just to go and combine these all properties and finish it as soon as possible, because I'm making it separate because you need to learn a lot about the storage making. Either way you can use also Justin, so there is no worries about that. You can use the Transtech. Every feature have a very good options over there. You can try it, but today finish that one as using that Redux toolkit. You have any question, let me know in the comments, and please like the video, anything leave in the comment and subscribe the channel. It will be help for me. So right now finish it, and in the next build we're gonna finish the card and other properties. So I'm gonna see you in the next video.